The best part about being live on YouTube and doing Free Advice Friday for the next hour is that I can't check my stock portfolio while I'm live on the internet. And so for the next hour, I get peace, as it were. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Free Advice Friday. Looking forward to spending some time with you this afternoon, answering your voiceover business and marketing questions. And like I said, not looking at my stock portfolio for the next hour because it's been violent, to say the least. Yes, indeed. It has been violent, to say the least. Free Advice Friday. Every week, opportunity for you to come and ask your voiceover business and marketing questions and get them answered. And that is what I am here for, and very much looking forward to spending some time with you today to do that. So as you join into the live stream, if you do have a question that you would like to ask and get answered, please don't be shy. Feel free to type your question into the comments, and I will certainly do my best to answer as many questions as I can here for the next little while. I always like to start off Free Advice Friday with something that I've been thinking about, something that I've been learning, some sort of actionable, practical advice that I can offer you while we're waiting for people to join into the live stream. And something that I've been thinking about a lot has to do with your social media. One of the things that I teach in Voiceover Marketing Playbook, and I teach this in my email workshops that I run as well, it's a reminder that your email is about you, but it is not for you. I say the same thing about your website. Your website is about you, but it is not for you. And what I mean by that is your email should be written for the buyer. You need to write your marketing emails thinking about that lead and what it is that they need, what it is that you can do for them. Same thing goes for your website. When you're working on your website, you are building a website that you are sending out to potential leads, prospects, clients, and it needs to be about you. It needs to talk about your voiceover services, what you have to offer, but it needs to do it from their perspective because it is for them ultimately. Well, when it comes to social media, I think the same thing is true, and I think that's an area where we could probably all do a little bit better. And so it's a reminder that your content is for your audience. One of my favorite things to do when I've got a few minutes to sit down and watch a show on TV, which is not very often, but I love watching cooking competitions and all kinds of different cooking competitions. I particularly love Tournament of Champions that Guy Fieri does. I'm a huge fan of Gordon Ramsay, Next Level Chef, Master Chef, all those different ones. I love watching these cooking competitions. One of the things that I see consistently across the board in these cooking competitions is when people cook too much for themselves and not for the judges. So when the judges have given you very specific criteria that you need to follow, obviously you want to do your take or your interpretation. You want to be able to showcase yourself a little bit in that. But at the end of the day, the dish is not for you. You're not the one that's going to be eating it and judging it. The judges are going to be the one that is eating it and judging it. And when you fail to cook for the judges, that is when you often fail in the cooking competition. I think the same thing could be said for your social media. Your social media is not for you to consume. It is for your audience to consume. Your social media is for those voiceover leads that you're reaching out to. Your social media is for those prospects that you're continuing to nurture relationships with. Your social media is for those clients who have already hired you and now you want to continue to stay top of mind with them, or at least that's who your social media should be for. And so you need to take that in mind when you are creating content. Now, again, that doesn't mean that you're not going to talk about yourself. Of course, you're going to talk about yourself and your business and your likes, your dislikes, whatever. You want your personality to shine through. You want to be able to show who you are genuinely and authentically, because that's obviously very important as well. But you have to remember that your social media is for your audience. So are you creating content for your audience? And one of the areas where I think this rings particularly true, a lot of voice actors make the mistake of thinking that in order to use social media for marketing purposes, they have to talk about voiceover because you're a voice actor and you're selling voiceover services. The problem is when you start talking exclusively about voiceover, or even just primarily about voiceover, who's the audience that ultimately attracts? It ultimately attracts an audience full of voice actors. And I don't think that's what you're going for. I don't think that you want to have all of your social media channels filled with audiences of voice actors. That doesn't mean you can't connect with them. That doesn't mean that there's not opportunities to learn from each other. Obviously, we want to build a network of friends and colleagues who understand our industry and understand what we're doing, and all of that makes sense as well. But if you're only ever sharing voiceover content, you're going to build an audience that is primarily interested in that content. And that may not be the content that is of the greatest interest to the audience that you want to attract, which is the audience of leads, prospects, and clients. So it's just another reminder of who you are trying to reach, and are you targeting them in the right way? When you're reaching out to people through email, are you making the email more about them and what you can do for them? When you're posting your content on your social media, are you posting content that is for your audience and not just for you and your enjoyment and you and your consumption, but content that actually speaks to them in some way, adds value to them in some way? When I go onto your website, has your website been built to appease that potential buyer more so than it's been built to appease yourself? And sometimes that's one of the hardest things to do, by the way, is to be able to look at what we're doing through somebody else's eyes. We can't just look at it through our eyes. We have to be able to look at it through the eyes of that potential buyer. And when we're able to do that, I think that it helps us to create better content all the way around. And so that's what I want to remind you of today. Remember that the content that you are creating is supposed to be for your audience. So try to figure out what they're interested in, try to figure out what they like, try to figure out how you can add value to them, try to figure out what their pain points are, try to figure out the problems that you can solve for them. Once you're able to do those things and start creating a content strategy around those things, I think that's when you're going to notice that your social media is going to start to have a greater impact on ultimately what happens with your voiceover business. So there you go. Take that in mind as you're building out your social media strategy. Welcome to the stream, Robert, Tony. Good to have you here. AJB voice actor, thank you for joining from Louisville, Kentucky. Hope you are staying safe down there as well. I know there's been some crazy weather going on in that stretch there the last couple of days, all the tornadoes and everything. I can't even imagine. I actually was commenting with a friend yesterday. You know, I often will complain about certain things that go on in Southern Ontario. It's a very expensive place to live, and not that there's any good reason for it, because there's not anything special about Southern Ontario. But one of the things that I have always said is we don't have earthquakes, we don't have hurricanes, we don't have volcanoes, we don't have tsunamis, and where I'm at anyway, almost never, ever tornadoes. And so we do have that going for us. No terrifying, intimidating weather phenomenon for us to deal with, which is definitely a good thing. If you have a question that you would like to ask and get answered, again, just feel free to type it in the comments. If you put a Q beside it, it does make it a little bit easier for me to see it when it is popping out in the comments. Obviously, there's lots of stuff going on in the comments, and I want to make sure that I get to as many things as possible. But if you drop that Q beside it, it does make it a little bit easier for me to find. So what do you guys want to do? What can I talk to you about? Pamela says, when I used to do email audits for B2B companies, I would first check for all of the you words versus the me words in the copy. If there were more of them, we knew exactly where to edit first. That's one of the things that I say all the time. If every sentence in your email starts with I, you might be doing something wrong. If every email sentence starts with I can do, I am, I this, I that, you're talking about yourself, and you're probably not talking to your buyer, who is the recipient of the email. And so we have to be very cognizant of things like that. And by the way, if you need a little bit of help with this, Voiceover Marketing Playbook is coming out next week. Playbook is going to be available on Tuesday. However, if you sign up for the Playbook waitlist, you will get access to an exclusive pre-sale. The only way to find out the details of the pre-sale is to be on the waitlist. The pre-sale is going to be announced on Monday. It will only be available for one day, just for Monday. You will only be able to take advantage of the pre-sale offer. I can tell you right now, I've been working on some packages for the pre-sale, mixing things up a little bit this time around. If you're interested in Playbook Complete, the total pre-sale bonus value for Playbook Complete, I think stands at around $1,100 right now. So in other words, you buy Playbook for $997. You will get an additional $1,100 in bonus content. But that is only if you are on the wait list. That is only if you take advantage of the pre-sale. That pre-sale will happen on Monday, but the only way that you can find out about it and the only way that you can take advantage of it is to be on the wait list. So head to voiceovermarketingplaybook.com, voiceovermarketingplaybook.com. Fill in that little box there. Get on the wait list if you want. And I would love to be able to tell you about those pre-sale details. Otherwise, watch for Playbook available April 8th through the 15th. And I will teach you how to write those emails that speak to the buyer. I'll give you tips for social media content and how to make sure that you're saying the right things and doing it in the right way and making the right connections. That is all part of the program and all part of what will be taught. So Playbook coming out here next week. Very excited to get that going. So what can I answer for you? What questions do you have? What would you like to talk about? Don't be shy. Put it in the chat. Very much looking forward to having that conversation. Tony says, I'm going to try and catch the stream while my youngest is homesick. Well, I hope that your youngest is feeling better very soon, Tony. We've been going through that as well. Kinsley had her first ear infection this week, and so we've had some rough nights as a result of that, although she's been feeling a little bit better today finally. So I think maybe we're on the other side of it now, which would be nice. I think both Mommy and I would like to be able to sleep again. That's for sure. All right. Again, don't be shy. If you've got a question that you want to ask and get answered, feel free to type it into the comments, put a Q beside it. I am keeping an eye out for all of your questions. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's dispense some solid, actionable, practical advice on Free Advice Friday. One of the things I wanted to comment on, I recently did a video. Actually, I guess maybe it hasn't been so recent now. It's hard to, I lose all concept of time, but I did a video, I guess it was probably a couple of months ago, talking about a lot of the changes that were happening with LinkedIn and the fact that LinkedIn was completely overhauling their hashtag strategy. And LinkedIn is not the only one, by the way, that is overhauling hashtag strategy. X is making changes to the hashtag strategy on that platform. We've also got Instagram making changes to their hashtag strategy. There it is. If you go to vopreneur.com, click on podcast. Here we are. So that episode came out January 16th. Hashtags are evolving. What you need to know for 2025. Well, believe it or not, even since that episode came out in January, there's been even more changes now. And one of them is LinkedIn has now removed the ability for you to follow hashtags. At this point, you still can use hashtags on LinkedIn. You can still click on hashtags on LinkedIn and see an indexed list of everybody who is posting and using that hashtag, but you are no longer able to follow hashtags on LinkedIn. And so this is the beginning, well, maybe not the beginning. We're probably now more in the middle stages of LinkedIn fully overhauling their hashtag strategy. And so that's a change that I recently discovered, that you can no longer follow hashtags on LinkedIn. Thomas says, hey, Mark, I was on your website and I saw that your audio files have long and descriptive file names. Have you noticed that this improved your SEO or helped at all? The idea behind that, I use the voice sampler, which, by the way, I love the voice sampler. Go to voicesam.com/Mark Scott. Sign up for voice sam, get a $25 credit if you want to use the voice sampler. But one of the advantages to the voice sampler is that it does let you break up your demos. So rather than just posting one file of your 60-second demo, you can post each of the individual clips on that 60-second demo, and then you can label those clips in different ways. And there's a lot of different schools of thought on what the best way is to label them. One of the arguments is that you label them using the brand names, because if there are casting directors, potential voice buyers, whatever, that are looking through your demos and they identify with a particular brand, or, you know, they use a particular brand, or they want a voice that has the same vibe as a particular brand, then if the brand name is in the file name, then they can instantly click to that spot. One of the other schools of thought is that you label the reads with the type of read that it is. So this is my, casual conversational guy next door read. This is my authoritarian corporate read. This is my, I don't even know. This is my dad read, whatever it is. But again, the idea being that nobody has attention spans anymore. The probability of somebody coming to your website, clicking play on your 60-second demo and listening all the way through your 60-second demo, probability of that almost slim to none. And so if you have each of the individual clips available and labeled with the type of read that clip represents, if I'm a buyer coming to your website and I need somebody who has the ability to do a more professional, authoritative read, and I go and I see professional, authoritative read, I could just click that one clip and just listen to that one clip, and you're giving me exactly what I need immediately, which there's an appeal to that. Again, no attention spans. Everybody's in a hurry. Everybody's trying to save time. Everybody needs things to be done yesterday. And so by giving them that right out of the gate, you're helping them. So you're solving a problem for them. Is there SEO benefits to that? There is allegedly SEO benefits to that if you do it in the right way as well. So yes, I think there are definitely several different advantages to having each of your clips laid out individually, whether you do that with VoiceSam or whether you do that with some other player. But if you have those clips laid out individually and you're able to label those clips for exactly what they are, it just makes it easier for a potential buyer to find the exact read that they're looking for, or easily determine whether or not you are capable of delivering that exact read. And so that is the thought process behind that. And that's why I have them labeled out that way on my website. All right, let's see. Pamela says, for multiple demos that need to be cut up to work in VoiceSam, do I need to purchase a separate license? No, once you have your VoiceSam player, then you are able to upload as many demos as you want to that player. And then the way that it ultimately works, here, let me just bring this up. I'll just bring up my website, for example, just so that you can see. So we'll just come over here, load up the website. There's just a drop down here. And so you can choose from whatever demos, or these buttons also, right? So if I click documentary, there goes my documentary. If I click real estate, then there goes my real estate demo. And so that's, you do not need to have multiple licenses. Once you've got it, you're good to go. You can put different demos on. And the other thing that you can do is, let's say that you have different landing pages. So I have a landing page for documentary, which is where I send my documentary leads. I have a landing page for commercial, which is where I send my commercial leads. I have a landing page for e-learning, which is where I put my e-learning leads. You can actually embed the player on each one of those pages, and on each individual page, you can choose which demo loads first. So on the documentary page, you have it load by default with the documentary demo. On the e-learning page, you have it load by default with the e-learning demo. On the commercial page, you have it load by default with the commercial demo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so there are some really good advantages to it in that regard as well. I'm a big fan of VoiceSam. And by the way, if you sign up at that link, it is an affiliate link, but you will receive credit for that, $25 credit, which gives you an opportunity to, well, basically, I mean, if you just sign up for basic VoiceSam, that gets you basically it gets you a couple of months of VoiceSam on me, is pretty much what it works out to. But it is a really great demo player, a player that a lot of producers love. Works great. I don't know what else to tell you. That pretty much sums it up. Definitely worth checking out, though. Who else has got a question for Free Advice Friday? What can I answer for you? What do you guys want to talk about? I am going to be doubling down on marketing efforts over the next few weeks because I have about 15 years of retirement to make up now. Stock market in the last few days has been pretty ugly, has it not? Yikes. So, yep, going to have to start doing some more marketing, book some more voiceover work. Everybody's like, it's a buying opportunity. I can't buy. I already lost everything. No, it's all right. We're going to be fine. As long as companies still spend money on voiceover, we're going to be fine, right? That's it. We just need companies to still spend money on voiceover. If you haven't done it yet, you know, this might actually be a really good time, and maybe I should do this too. Head over to VOpreneur.com, click on that podcast link, and go back to this episode from a couple of weeks ago, Trends, Tariffs, and Trade Wars, the State of Voiceover in 2025 with J. Michael Collins. Maybe we should all go back and revisit that episode. And by the way, that is available wherever fine podcasts are given away for free, so you can enjoy it on Apple Podcasts. You can enjoy it on Spotify. You can do it right there on the website at vopreneur.com. Play it right there. Download it from there if you want. Or you can also watch it right here on the YouTube channel. So you can look that one up on YouTube and watch it. But it might be a good time for all of us to go back and revisit that. Because dang. All right, let's see. What else is going on? Christopher says, when A/B testing with direct marketing emails, which ones do you feel land the best? Well, I think there's a lot of different ways that you can do A/B testing. There's a lot of different variables that you can play around with. So some of the variables that you may want to A/B test are subject lines, right? So, and just to be clear, when we say A/B test, let's say that you've got a group of 50 leads. I think you got to have at least that sample size. So you break it into 25 and 25, right? So 25 are going to get this subject line, 25 are going to get that subject line. And so that would be an example of an A/B test. And if you see out of each of those groups of 25 that one subject line seemed to perform better, that is, one subject line got you more responses or more clicks or whatever, then that might be the subject line that you ultimately default to. Other things that you can A/B test are the actual content of the email. So you might A/B test your call to action. You might A/B test the personalized opening and the things that you comment on the personalized opening. You could A/B test your benefits. You know, I'm going to talk about this in this email. I'm going to talk about these benefits in that email and see, does one appeal more than another? You can also A/B test like the tone of an email, for example. So one might present more of a, I understand your frustrations and all of these problems, and don't these things drive you crazy? And then you can demonstrate, but hey, I can solve all that for you. And so you come at it more from a pain point perspective. And one of it might come from a more positive, optimistic perspective of, here's all the amazing things that I can do to make your life and business easier. And you could A/B test the tone of the email to see, does one work better than the other? Do people respond more to the positive upside, or do people respond more to the negative, understanding and addressing my pain points side? And so I think that is, I think that's a way that you can A/B test as well. So A/B testing is something that I play around with a lot. I've tested subject lines. I've tested different email tones. I've tested different, and I still continue, by the way, to test all of those different things, and then try to learn what's working and what is not working. What is the majority of what you book and from where? I would say the bulk of my work is e-learning, which is intentional, by the way. That's where I do the bulk of my marketing as well. I really enjoy e-learning work. And I do e-learning across all kinds of different things. I've been that guy that's like, your 2025 employee benefits package will include blah, 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 blah. I've done a lot of stuff in the IT space, the cybersecurity space. I've done stuff in the education space. I've done stuff in the emergency services space. There's a bunch of different places. And I really enjoy the e-learning side of things. I'm a big reader and a nonfiction reader. So I feel like there's always something new to learn. And I think that's one of the reasons why e-learning resonates with me so much, is because I feel like I'm getting paid to learn cool stuff. When I read some of this cybersecurity stuff, for example, I'm like, okay, first of all, it scares the living crap out of me, and it makes me want to, pull the plug on my house and go live off the grid in the woods. But at the same time, it's also like, hey, that's a tip that I could actually implement. And so I should probably go and, sign up for that VPN or do this thing or whatever. And so there's the upside to that as well, which I always enjoy. So I really like learning about that stuff. But yeah, I would say e-learning is probably my dominant, non-broadcast in general, e-learning, corporate narration, things of that nature. I do a little bit of commercial, not a ton, but that's also, again, because I'm more intentionally marketing myself on the non-broadcast and the e-learning side. This year, though, been putting a big push on the documentary side. And so I've been kind of doing a 50-50 split on my marketing this year. So 50% kind of e-learning, 50% going towards documentary, because trying to land that first role, that first really, well, I guess it wouldn't be the first, but trying to land that first big documentary role, or docuseries, which is really what I want. Really want a docuseries. All right. What else? What can I answer for you? What do you guys want to talk about? What questions do you have that you would like to get answered? Thank you for coming and watching Free Advice Friday. I appreciate it as always. Welcome, Tanya. Welcome, Rachel. Kurt, thank you for joining in. If you have a question that you would like to ask and get answered, all I would ask is that you add a Q beside it. When you put it into the comment section there, you put that Q beside it. It makes it a little bit easier for me to see. It pops out a little bit easier on my screen in the midst of all of the chat. And I'm certainly happy to answer as many questions as I can for the next little bit here, hanging out with you guys on Free Advice Friday. Did you catch the new episode of the podcast? This week's episode actually is a really great one. It was wonderful to have Matt Fogarty on the show. Matt's a guy that's got 29 different radio stations under his belt right now. He is the imaging voice for. He works with iHeart. He has done Sirius XM. He was the imaging voice on the Pop-Up Taylor Swift channel, which he said was a really cool opportunity and made him a bit of a hero with his daughters. Radio imaging is a genre that there is still money to be made in. And not everybody maybe would have thought that, because when we think about, I mean, particularly for those of us who came from the broadcast space, when we think about the state of radio, we think that it's, not in a very good place. But there's definitely still money to be made on the imaging side. And Matt gave a masterclass in radio imaging and that genre. So much great advice on what goes into it, what you need to be thinking about from a creative perspective, who are the people that you need to be connecting with and establishing relationships with from a marketing side of things. Like we covered all the things, which was really fun and a really, really educational, really insightful interview. So if that is a genre that you have ever thought about, that definitely might be an episode of the podcast that you want to check out. So again, that is the newest episode of the show, available Spotify, Apple, wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. And you can find that one on the YouTube channel as well. If you would rather watch the video version of it, it is right here on the YouTube channel. Tony says, I definitely want to land some e-learning stuff. Yeah, I think e-learning is a really fun genre. I think that it can be a very lucrative genre as well. And that's a genre that, okay, on the low end, is that going to go to AI ultimately? Yeah, probably, maybe some of it. But there's still, at this point anyway, knock on wood, right? It still seems like we very much are looking for the human connection there. When you're delivering e-learning content, generally speaking, that's important content, right? Whatever it is that you're teaching somebody, whether it's doing sales training or it's HR content or, whatever the case may be, that's important content. And you want the people who are sitting through that content to be engaged with that content. You do not want them falling asleep. You do not want them beating their head off the desk because of the terrible AI voice that delivered the content. And so the companies that recognize that, the instructional designers and e-learning developers that recognize that, they're still using human voices and they still want to use human voices. And so I hope that they continue to feel that way and that they continue to want to use human voices. Kurt said, am I right that an A/B test is something you do separately from a sequence in Nimble? Yes and no. You could certainly do it separately from a sequence, but you could also do it by having two different sequences. So it would be possible that you could have your A sequence and your B sequence as an example. And you could drop 50 people into the A sequence, drop 50 people into the B sequence. And then when they are in that sequence, when they're in those sequences, you could pay attention to, did one work better than another? And so that might be a way that you could experiment with it. You do have me curious now, though. I'm actually pulling it up to see, can you do A/B testing inside of a Nimble sequence? And that is something that I am not entirely sure about. And so I'm just very quickly looking to see. There's edit condition. Let's see. So it doesn't look like at this point, it doesn't look like there's a way to A/B test inside of the sequence. Interesting though. But yeah, that would be the way to do it. The way to do it would be to have two different sequences. So you write your maybe you're going to change your subject lines, for example. That's easy enough to do. So you write your first sequence, then you duplicate that sequence, and then on the B sequence, you just go in and change out all the subject lines of all of the emails, and now you have an A-B sequence that you could send through Nimble. You add 25 to one, 25 to the other, see if one works the same. So that would be the way that I would do it, or that it could be done. But it can also be done on individual emails as well. Pop Shop. You guys know this? Man, this takes me back to my childhood big time. Kaylee really wanted pizza. She was asking me earlier this morning if we could have pizza for supper. So when my last session finished at 11 o'clock, I went upstairs and told her we were going for a car ride. And we went to the local pizza place and I got her a slice of pizza, which that blew her mind because she's never had a slice of pizza, gone and got a slice of pizza for lunch. But they sold Pop Shop. And man, this stuff is so good. If you ever get a chance to try it, Pop Shop Black Cherry, that's where it's at. Although Kaylee will tell you that the Pop Shop Cotton Candy is where it's at, because that's what I bought her, and she tried a little bit of that and thought that was pretty spectacular. All right, guys, what else? What else do you want to talk about? What else can I help you with? If you haven't played around with Nimble and sequences, what are you waiting for? And actually, Nimble's got a new feature that's coming out. I don't know if it's been rolled out fully yet or if they're still slowly rolling it out. They mentioned it to me. I need to get connected with them because they're going to walk me through the email marketing. There's new email marketing functionality that is coming to Nimble that is going to let you send mass email campaigns, designed mass email campaigns. So not just a typical straight text, but an actual designed mass email campaign. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that. They've invited me to set up a meeting with them, and they're going to walk me through the features of that and how it works. If you go to nimble.com/MarkScottVO, nimble.com/MarkScottVO, that's the page that's going to load, and you can get a 30-day trial of Nimble, fully functioning 30-day trial of Nimble, no credit card required, and take it for a test drive and play around with it. Sequences, I'm telling you, sequences are going to change your life. Sequences, once you get those up and running, being able to automate some of your email follow-ups, absolutely amazing to be able to do that. All right, Robert says, have you targeted local companies? For example, my dentist had a sucky IVR and she didn't even know what it said. I sort of shamed her into hiring me. Would you, for instance, target local businesses for that? 1,000% yes. I actually teach a class called Booking in Your Backyard. And the entire purpose of that class is to walk you through all of the different opportunities that exist for voiceover right within your own community that you are probably not even thinking about. And one of the things that I talk about in that class is exactly that. It's thinking about all of the local professional offices that have phone systems who have never even thought about the possibility of having a professional voice actor on their phone system. So that could be the dentist, it could be the doctor, lawyers, accountants, realtors, all of those types of things. And reaching out and offering them options, and then take it a step further by building a retainer package that says, I'll charge you X amount for individual updates, but for Y amount, which is a discount, if you pay up front for the year, it will get you X number of updates throughout the year, and you build in retainer structures, and that's even better. So yeah, 100%, you should be looking in your own community. And one of the advantages, depending on where you live, obviously, but one of the advantages to looking in your own community is that you may be the only voice actor in your own community, or one of just a few voice actors in your own community. So you go on to online casting, and you got 100 people submitting for every single job. You talk about agents, particularly larger regional and national stuff from agents, and there can be hundreds of people, potentially 1,000 voice actors submitting for that job. You walk into the local dentist office, you're the only voice actor in town. I like my odds when I'm competing against a pool of one. I'll take those odds. So yes, absolutely. I think that there is a case to be made for marketing on that local level. Not to mention the fact that there's an instant connection, right? I talk about the importance of making a personalized connection. And one of the things that I teach very heavily in voiceover marketing playbook, I talk about it repeatedly throughout the course, is the importance of that personalized connection. One of the ways that you establish instant rapport and make a more personalized connection with somebody is when you are from the same place or you live in the same place, you live in the same town. Wouldn't you rather work with the local vendor than the vendor 6 states over, for example? So, absolutely. Tanya says, I love Nimble, excited to hear about the enhancements. Yeah, I really need to get that session booked. We were supposed to do it. Actually, we had the session originally booked when the LA fires broke out. And the people that were supposed to do the session with me obviously could not do it because of the LA fires. And we tried to reschedule a couple of times and continued to have issues with that because of recovering from the LA fires. And then I was gone. I was away. I was in Atlanta and just life and stuff. And so, yeah, soon though, we need to have that conversation because I am very much looking forward to it as well. Email marketing. You'll be able to send emails, mass emails, mass designed emails. I guess the easiest way to think about it would be if you're currently using something like MailChimp, for example. Maybe you have an email list that you've built of all of your clients in MailChimp or Constant Contact or that type of software. Now you would ultimately be able to do that from within inside Nimble. So bringing everything into one place, certainly convenient. Again, if you've got a question that you would like to ask and get answered, that's what I'm here for. I'm not hanging out just, so you can see my smiling face on the internet. I'm genuinely here to give you guys information, to answer your voiceover business and marketing questions. This is Free Advice Friday. That is what we do Friday afternoons on YouTube. So if there is a voiceover business and marketing question that you would like to ask and get answered, please do not be shy. This is your opportunity to ask that question and get it answered. There are no dumb questions. I can't promise that there won't be dumb answers. I certainly try not to do dumb answers, but I'm certainly happy to answer as many questions as I can. So if there's something you want to talk about, please don't hesitate. Type that question into the comments and let's go. Let's get some questions moving on Free Advice Friday, and let's see how I can help you to level up your voiceover business. And in the meantime, Pop Shop Black Cherry. That's where it's at. Oh, that stuff is so good. Dang, that stuff is so good. All right, here's one from Tony. How did you overcome the difficulty from being laid off by radio to making VO a full-time career? I'm spending every spare minute to make progress in VO, but my survival job is taking all my time. Tony, this is a really great question. I was very fortunate when my voiceover business came to I was very fortunate when my radio job came to an end, that I was a single guy. I was a single guy with minimal expenses. And that was certainly a profound factor in my ability to make voiceover work for me, because I was able to just go full bore, full-time voiceover right out of the gate. I got a little bit of money. And when I say little, I mean like little bit of money as a severance. But because my expenses were so low at the time, and I was a single guy, and keep in mind, we're talking like this is like 2011. So, life was still somewhat affordable at that point, and I fully acknowledge that life was still somewhat more affordable at that point. But I was able to just go full-time voiceover. And so it allowed me to pour everything into it. Also, because I was a single guy, I had nothing else to do. And so I was working, 12, 14, 16 hours a day some days because I had nothing else to do. Like I literally was bored. And so I was very blessed. And I do not hide that. I do not deny that. I fully acknowledge that. It would be hard. I would not be able to do it the same way today that I did back then. Today, being with a wife and 4 daughters, I would definitely have to approach things from a different perspective. That being said, I also understand the concept of short-term pain for long-term gain. And so could I or would I spend a year working 14 hours a day if that's what I had to do? Working at a regular 9 to 5 and then coming in and putting another 6 hours into my voiceover business every night when I got home. Would I do it if that was what I had to do? Yes, I would. And I could. I may not always enjoy it, but I would and I could if I had to, in order to get it built up. One of the other things that I would say, though, that has changed, when I was building my business up at that point in time, again, going back 2011 was my first year, 2011, 2012, I did not have tools like CRM and automated email sequencing to take care of my follow-ups. I did not have tools like ChatGPT to assist me with certain tasks. I did not have other AI-enabled tools and plugins to help with building inefficiencies and time management and all of that sort of stuff. And so that is the trade-off now too, is there are more tools now than there's ever been at any point to make it possible for you to grow a business today. You have access to all of social media. You have access to AI tools and technology and large language models to help you with some of these things. And not only to help you on the creative side, but also to help you on the efficiency side and the productivity side. And those advantages weren't around back then. And so if you can learn how to use those things to your advantage, I think that can be a big upside potential for you today that wouldn't have been for you 10 years ago. And so that's part of it, is just trying to find that balance, trying to figure out how to build in efficiencies wherever possible, but also understanding that, look, you're building a business and that is hard. I don't care what business you build. Building a business is hard. And building a successful, thriving business takes time, it takes consistency, and it takes discipline. No matter what the business is that you're building, you need time, consistency, and discipline in order to make those things happen. I had to make choices about I had to say no to certain things so that I could have the time to do other things. I had to say no to certain things so that I had the finances to invest in certain things. And so there's sacrifices all along the way as well. But I do think, even though the world has changed from when I built my business, I also think that there are a lot of things that are available to us today that didn't exist back then that can be used to our advantage. Marlon says, hey, Mark, I'm connected with you on LinkedIn. In a fairly recent post, you showed the travel recording booth you use. Until I could do something better later, do you feel it may be okay to use for my home? I love my tri booth. I absolutely love my tri booth. That booth, my wife's family lives about 8 hours away from where we are. And so, we try to go up north and visit her family as often as possible. And whenever we would go up there and I'm staying in the hotel, I would always have to be building these pillow forts, and it would always drive me crazy trying to build these pillow forts. This is the new tri booth, by the way. The new one, it can build around a desk, which is actually really convenient. This is tri booth 2.0. I have tri booth 1.0. I have this one. It sounds fantastic. Now, you've got to be in a quiet space, right? That still matters. Like when I'm set up in the hotel, if the cleaning staff is vacuuming the hallway, my tri booth is not going to save me from that. If 6 fire trucks and an ambulance come ripping down past the hotel on the main street there, that's not gonna save me. But when I'm in a quiet space, when the hotel room is quiet and I can record in there, I do get a very nice, clean acoustic sound. And I am super happy with it. And I've recorded tons of stuff in it. Clients have never complained. Nobody's ever noticed. And just to be clear, like, I am not a paid affiliate. I don't get any kickbacks. Like, I just love it. I bought mine. Well, a couple people kicked in to help me as a thank you, but I paid part of it as well. I paid a third of it, but I did pay for mine. It's not like they just shipped it to me or gave me one or whatever. I just promoted it because I think it's a great product and I love it and I'm super happy with it and I can fold it up and it fits in a suitcase. And so when I leave it at my mother-in-law's place, it's not like it takes up a ton of space there. And then the next time we come back to visit, I can build it in about 10 minutes. It is freaking awesome. I love it. Trybooth.com is the website for that one. Trybooth.com. Like I said, this is version 1.0. Version 2.0, it literally just came out. Like it's only been out for a couple weeks, I think. And like you see here, it can be built so that there's a desk inside, which makes it a little bit more convenient, which is actually kind of cool. I like mine. I like the fact that I can stand up in it. I haven't even really looked closely at this one. Oh, so it fits inside of a suitcase too. Obviously, you're not going to take the table with you, but yeah, there you go. There's a Trybooth Classic. That's the one I've got. So $1,500. And it comes with all this stuff too. By the way, they did not miss a detail on this thing. It comes with the copy stand. It comes with the mic boom. It comes with the little tray to, sit your drink or hook your headphones or whatever. It's got a light an LED light that it comes with. It comes with the extension cord and the power bar. Like they did not miss a beat on that thing. I think it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Tony says that's definitely the challenge being a parent and a spouse. It's hard to have everything held together and get everyone on board for long haul. 100%, man. I feel you on that. I definitely do feel you on that. And that's where I think the big thing for you, probably part of it is going to be a matter of, your family has to be on board. And my family was not on board in the beginning. And it wasn't that they didn't support me. It was just that they didn't understand, right? We're trained from a very young age that you are an employee. You get up and you go to a job and, you work at that job from whatever, 9 to 5, and then you come home from work. And so the idea that I was my own boss, that I had my own hours, that I didn't actually go out, like I didn't leave to go to work, it was just such a foreign concept that it was hard for them to understand. But you've got to have a supportive family, definitely. I think that you have to appreciate that there's going to be an element of short-term pain for long-term gain as far as, the amount of time that you're going to put in and how hard it's going to be in the beginning. I think you have to set realistic expectations for yourself as well. You're not going to build a 6-figure business in a year. Well, I shouldn't say that. You are unlikely to build a 6-figure voiceover business in a year. But can you build one up over several years if you consistently show up and do the thing? Yeah, I think you can. Pamela says, I got the Trybooth for when we were on Maui during COVID. Loved it. Great product. And George and Rick are top-notch folks to work with as well. 100%. Absolutely. And then if you have that and you're using that as your booth at home and you do actually need to go out and do some traveling, you go on family vacation or whatever, slap that baby in a suitcase and you are good to go. All right. What else? What can I answer for you? What do you want to talk about on Free Advice Friday? If you have a question that you would like to ask and get answered during the live stream here, feel free to type that question into the comments. Just put a Q beside it so I can see it pop out on my screen. And I'm certainly happy to answer as many questions as I can. I can stick around for 10 more minutes, answer a few more questions. What do you want to talk about? What are you thinking about? What do you need help with? What is your pain, your stress? What is perplexing you? Whatever those things may be, I am certainly happy to answer as many questions as I can here on Free Advice Friday. So don't be shy, ask away. And if you are enjoying the live stream, by the way, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and also give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that if you would give me a thumbs up as well. Don't forget, Voiceover Marketing Playbook is coming out next week. I'm very excited about it. Looking forward to releasing it again. I know that it helps a lot of voice actors who are looking to level up their marketing, trying to figure out what to do, what to say, who to say it to, how to say it, all of those things. Everything is in Playbook. It is definitely designed to take the guesswork out of all of it for you. If you head to voiceovermarketingplaybook.com, like I said, Playbook does come out on April the 8th. However, if you join the wait list, you will get notified of an exclusive pre-sale with some big time bonuses. The only way to find out about that pre-sale is to be on the wait list. That pre-sale opportunity will happen on April the 7th. So I'm telling you right now, it's worth finding out about. All right. Anybody else got any other questions I can answer for you? Anything else you would like to talk about on Free Advice Friday? Made bacon this week. That was fun. Ended up with about 15 pounds, give or take, of bacon. Got it all sliced up. I like mine thick sliced. Got it all sliced up and vacuum sealed and in the freezer and good to go for another couple of months now. Once you make your own bacon, that's it. Just to be clear, once you make your own bacon, you are ruined. That's it. You will never be able to buy grocery store bacon ever again, but it will be worth it. It's such a fun process too. I actually really enjoy the process of it. Set my smoker on fire again, which was a bummer, but it happens every time I make bacon. Just the sheer amount of grease that comes off of the pork belly while it is smoking in there. And somehow towards the end of the smoke, every single time, I end up managing to start a burn in the smoker of all that grease. So that's always, it's always fun to clean up later. But it's worth the pain because you get 15 pounds of bacon that comes out of it in the end. And hey, who doesn't want 15 pounds of bacon? Delicious, yummy, homemade bacon. Tony says, I've always wanted to learn how to do it. It's actually a lot easier than you probably realize. Let me look for, hang on, I'll show you the one recipe that I follow. This is it. Susie Bullock, if you've never heard of her, her blog is Hey Grill Hey, heygrillhey.com, and homemade smoked bacon. This is actually the recipe, one of the recipes that I follow, and it's pretty straightforward. You just got to put together a cure, which is just a few simple ingredients. This particular one, preg powder, which is your curing salt, kosher salt, brown sugar, maple syrup. I'm, obviously Canadian, so I'm all about that. Cracked pepper. I leave out the red pepper flakes because I'm a wuss, but it's actually not that hard. Take your pork belly, put the cure on it, put it in a bag in the fridge. It stays in the fridge for a week. Every night I flip it, rub it in a little bit so it's got a week to cure. Then I take it out of the bag, wash it all off really good, get all of the cure and all of the extra pepper and all that sort of stuff off of it. Then you dry it, let it sit in the fridge exposed overnight, and then throw it on the smoker. And it's just a really low smoke, like 175, until you get an internal temperature on the bacon of 155, which, could take anywhere from 6 to 12 hours, depending. But honestly, it's not that hard of a process. So satisfying in the end. I always love it. See, some of you guys come here for voiceover advice, but I know that some of you come here to talk about smoking meat. Nothing wrong with that. So that was last week. My wife bought the pork belly while I was in Atlanta, came home, started the cure on it on Monday, then let it go for the week, and then smoked it on Monday. Then had a crazy week, so didn't get a chance to slice it up and vacuum seal it until yesterday, but done and good to go and delicious. All right, everyone. I got to jump out, get ready for another coaching session here this afternoon, but it's been fun to hang out with you as always. I am looking forward to working with some of you on Voiceover Marketing Playbook. Get on the wait list. Do it. Do the thing. Do the thing. Get on the wait list. So do that and listen to the new episode of the podcast this weekend because it's a really good one. And Matt gave some really great advice. And I will say, although we were talking radio imaging, and a lot of the advice that he gave was about the genre of radio imaging and and marketing towards the genre of radio imaging and whatnot. I still think that some of the really good stuff that he gave in that episode is actually applicable regardless of the genre that you are looking into. And so there ended up being a lot of advice there. Oh, look, Robert got one more question. We'll do one more question before we jump out. Robert, been reaching out to my existing production clients. Some I have not been in contact with a while, trying to be friendly, catching up and not pitching them, but a little about new things here and there. And I think that's exactly the way that you do it. I think that's 100% the way that you do it. People that you haven't reached out to in a while, keep it friendly, keep it casual, genuine and authentic. It's what everybody's talking about. Try not to sell them too hard. Demonstrate how you can add value. Show them how you can solve a specific problem for them. I think this is the way. This is the way. All right. Thank you guys. As always, I certainly do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. If you did, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. And you know what? Before I jump out, let me check my calendar. What's going on next week? Next week, I think I'm going to be able to do Free Advice Friday next week. I'm going to try to do Free Advice Friday next week. All right, guys. Thank you. Whatever you decide to do this weekend, as always, have fun, stay safe, and go find some leads.